Two. Okay, we're set. All right, so let's get an update from you, and I can give you something that I've done that might be of interest to you that I've discovered working with Higher Heroes. But
Okay.
I want to get an update from you. Let's see. Last time you were working on quite a few things, so give me. So where do you stand right now?
Yeah, so I actually just had a meeting with what I call them, my tech team. Jacob is the IT guy, and Anne is a web developer. So we just met the other day to sort of finalize our plan for my website, and we've already started working on the content. So I did write some articles, and I also wrote Jacob, and I agree. He said how people love a story about the person that they I guess are looking to purchase from or whatever. So I wrote all of that out, and we have a live Word document that we're all working from, to keep everything together. So that is pretty much where I'm at with that. We have a deadline of the 16th, I think, to have all of the content put together so that Jacob can go ahead and switch everything over from Weebly to WordPress. And then we've already got a template design that we're going to use, and Anne is going to be getting some stock photos put together. So the long and short of it is basically the content and all of that is being built, and then we'll have all that together in the next week and a half or so, and then start plugging it in to
Right,
the
great.
website.
Did you get a chance to view that? I sent you that link by that guy Donald Miller. You remember last time you had
Oh
talked?
yeah, so the story brand guide. Yeah, so I had already I didn't look at your link in particular, but several months ago I was introduced to his concept, and that's actually kind of how I built my website, because he talked about within the first 3 to 5 seconds they need to know what you're doing. They need to know who you are and what you're doing, and there needs to be
Right.
a call to action. So yeah, Jacob he's right on top of that kind of stuff. He's very
Okay.
well
Good.
versed in that kind of stuff. So, and we're also going to be doing videos and stuff. He's going to set up a paywall for me so that I can do what we're going to do is some videos, and there will be snippets of the videos on there, and then someone decides they want to buy them, then they can go the whole video or the series will be behind a paywall, and they'll be able to purchase the videos
Oh,
directly
okay.
from my website. Yeah.
Right. So you'll have like a 3 minute, and then if somebody wants to, they can then download the
Right.
rest of this. How long are these going to be? So it's like a
Um,
course. So essentially, you're basically creating a course here. It looks like.
exactly. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And I envisioned, 15 to 20-minute long videos, because they'll be aimed at kids and parents, and attention spans, especially with the kids, just aren't that
Yeah.
long. So
Right. Right.
these will be concepts that they can watch the videos, they can learn the concepts, and then start applying them to their lives. And then if they want, accountability, or if they want to go a little more in depth with, um, how to, yeah, I guess how to apply them to their lives, then we can do some one-on-one coaching.
Yeah. Actually, it's a good idea. I'll just suggest something. That's something you might want to think about. So if somebody purchases this video, what you may want to consider doing is that if they decide that they want to actually have you coach them, then you can even actually say you'll deduct that amount that they paid for the video from the coaching session. So it's in a way for them to pay. If they don't call you, then that's it. That's fine. They paid you,
Right.
so you don't care. But if they said, look, I like it, I want a coaching, then you can say, look, if you like my coaching, then I can deduct the amount that you paid for the video or something like that.
Oh,
Just an
yeah.
idea. Just an
Yeah.
idea that I wanted to, so that people don't feel like, hey, because I think the idea of getting people to pay is, and I don't make people pay for anything, because I just give away all kinds of like just free stuff. I got tons of free stuff out there for people to download, and it's just too much hassle to kind of get them to pay. And the other thing is that I just want I'm at a point where I just want my word to get around, right?
Right.
And the money I make is mainly from one-on-one. And eventually I'd like to do more speaking, but that hasn't really taken off since I haven't really been focusing on it. So you can't focus on too many things. That's another thing you learn when you're trying to be a solopreneur.
Right.
That if you try to do too many things, then you're going to be doing nothing. You're going to be going crazy. Oh, I'm doing this, and nothing is working.
Right.
And marketing is kind of tricky because if you're into too many things, it's not like you're going to be effective either. So
right.
But anyway, that's just an idea. I'm not going to tell you what you should, charge people. But it's one of those things that when you get people to pay for it, they take it more seriously.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. And I agree with you that free content is a great way to build your brand and to, like you said, get the word out there. But at some point, you got to be reimbursed for your work. And otherwise, people aren't going to take you seriously, in my opinion, and at some point and another thing that I run into is a desire to want to help as many people as possible. And let's face it, I mean, there are just so many people out there that cannot afford one-on-one coaching, right. Or they think they can't afford one-on-one coaching. So doing a video series that will fit into their budget, but will still help them and their family, that to me is, another way for them to experience coaching and to experience the benefit of coaching, but, they're not having to pay,
right.
Some people are just, they're living paycheck to paycheck and they can't afford,
right.
When it comes to, this would be considered a luxury item for them. Unfortunately.
Well, I mean, I noticed that these people who, these centers, I guess when I look at my psychology today, I see it, like people who have addiction problems and they have to go to these.
The treatment centers.
Those are ridiculously expensive what they charge, right?
Yes, they are.
And I always wonder how do they come up with money for that? That's like you're talking about like $25,000. I mean, it gets really crazy, and it looks more like a resort type of a place the way they are.
Yeah.
And I'm like who can even afford that? I was thinking, when people need help, you want to help them, but these are designed is there do they have insurance or are they just so desperate that money at that point doesn't even matter? I don't know. I've never looked into that because I don't have anybody that I know who have gone to any of these type of what are they called? They're
like treatment centers, residential treatment centers, and I think maybe insurance would cover a little bit of it, but those ones that you see that are like luxury places, they're usually, from what I understand, they're self-pay. And there's a lot of people out there, celebrities, families that are well-to-do, that they have addiction problems, or someone in their family has addiction problems, and they're usually the ones that go to those treatment centers. It's usually the people, just your regular everyday Joe, that goes to the 28-day inpatient or outpatient treatment center, and then they're sent on their way, and hopefully they make it, And I know all of this because I used to work in that field. In my opinion, someone needs way more than 28 days worth of intensive treatment before they're sent out into the world. Because guess what? Drugs are everywhere, so they're going to find them.
Yeah. They need somebody close by that they can. Is most of your coaching? You said I think most of your coaching is going to be over the internet, right? Or is it going to be
over the phone? Is what I usually prefer. I mean, I will do a Skype appointment or something like that, but I prefer to do it over the phone.
Right? Do you plan to do any face-to-face?
I mean, I will, and I have. Actually, a few of my clients lately have been face-to-face. They've been friends of friends here in my local area. So
right. So getting back to we're talking about, because obviously you want to try to monetize what you're doing,
right?
So is most of your money, the way you see it, because it looks like you got different streams that you're working on here?
Yes.
is primary way of making money will be through coaching? Is that where you see most of your money? And then there'll be some through internet, some products that you're creating.
Right.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So my aim is to have residual or passive income through things like a video series, or a book. Eventually I do plan to write a book. So because again, I'm not sure that I will have enough clients on a monthly basis to be able to depend on that, as my sole source of income. So, yeah, I'm definitely working towards having different, multiple streams of income, but from coaching. Yeah, for sure.
Right. And besides website, I think we've gone over this, but maybe it's time to make sure that we can discuss this further. How are you planning to get clients? Because that's the trick. I always think that the number one thing, and everybody, we're all qualified, but if you don't get the right kind of clients, then
Right.
it's not sustainable.
Yes.
So have you put together a plan on client acquisition plan? Like how do you plan to acquire clients? I mean, obviously word of mouth and all that is fine, but
Right.
at some point you have to have multiple ways of getting that exposure so that people are interested in you and finding out more about you to the point where they have that trial and then they turn into maybe a 3-month engagement or whatever. So what are some of the things you're considering doing for that?
So I'm going to print out some brochures to bring to the schools, so that they know I'm here. I would like to start doing some speaking engagements, which I've met with a couple of people just in the past few weeks who are connected with the school or the school board, and they said that they would pass my information along. So that's one thing that I'm planning on doing in terms of just trying to get the word out to kids and parents that I'm here. And then also just try to increase my visibility through speaking engagements,
Mm-hmm.
But my biggest challenge, Jay, is not having interest in what I do. There's plenty of people who are interested in what I do and who say, oh yeah, everyone needs a life coach. But then actually converting, I even have people that, like Jacob the other day, oh yeah, I know quite a few people who I think would love to have you as a coach. I've got people sending me phone numbers, this person said they need a life coach. Okay, great. Have them call me. I don't go around chasing people. I am not going to do that. They're going to have to take the initiative to call me,
right.
So that's the frustrating part for me, is having all these people say things like that to me but my phone's not ringing,
Yeah, right. No, and I agree. I mean, if they're not motivated to, I think this is something we discussed last time, and that's why you are developing content. That content, like blogs, are free. From that, you'll have a little thing at the bottom saying, look, if you want to do a 30-minute free session where they can find out what it's like working with you.
Right.
And then from that, if they like that, they can move to a trial package that you probably are going to create.
Exactly.
And then from trial package, so there's no it's not like you're just saying, okay, pay up front like that. That scares the hell out of people.
Right.
So you're kind of easing them into it. And I think one of the things that this is what I try to do. And this is one of the things that I try to do, but it didn't work out. So I want to be honest with you. So after I left the corporate world, I created my consulting company, and I don't do this anymore because it didn't work. And that's why I moved into a different area now. So I was helping companies drive sales. And the way I put together the engagement was that I would only do it for 3 months. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And the purpose of that was that I didn't want them to get dependent on me.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was that when I was there, everything worked out fine.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as I left, it fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to go back and just because then it was like I was just being an employee for them, right?
Right.
And I thought that working with them, that I would be transferring everything that I'm doing, that the people there would pick it up, and even at some point they could even hire somebody. I could even help them hire somebody that I thought would be appropriate to take over and become like the sales VP. These are small companies, so sales is very important. If the CEO usually is not the person, should be the main person, but a lot of these
Right.
technical companies, the CEO is usually not that good at sales, so they struggle. They can't grow. And the one that was really disappointing is this company where I helped them get a multi-million-dollar contract from DHL.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left after 3 months because that's my engagement. I didn't want to get stuck in it because otherwise, I might as well join the company and become a sales VP for them. But that's not what I was doing.
Right.
And as soon as I left, that contract, I don't know, they botched it up. They didn't have the wherewithal. That's a big contract, which we weren't even supposed to get. But I got in there and helped them turn it around, saying, look, what they're looking for is not going to work. Let's try something else and see if they're interested in that. And it turned out that's what they were interested in. But once I left, they couldn't make it grow. See, from DHL, they could have gone to UPS, they could have gone to FedEx, they could have gone to all these other companies, but they just didn't know how to do all that.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result, I don't even think the company's even in that business anymore. They're doing something completely different. So one of the things is that what I was going to mention is something you may want to consider is say, look, I'd like to do it 3 months so that you're not dependent. Because I think a lot of these type of life coaches, people feel like they're going to get too dependent on the life coach, that they can't do it themselves. So part of your thing is that, look, I don't want you to be dependent. I want you to take control of your own life.
Right.
So that I'm not there. So you can kind of say, I'm just giving you the reality that if they're not ready to take over control of it, then they're becoming too dependent on you. And I don't know, how are you going to handle that once you start having clients and they go for 3 months and now they're saying, oh, or it could go on for a year. And some of these life coaches, some people have it for years.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it could be that you could see them on a weekly basis or monthly basis or something like that, so you can kind of check in. So I'm just saying that's something that a lot of people what I'm saying is that a lot of people are scared to go to a coach because they feel that they'll become too dependent and then they'll never be able to leave the coach.
Right. Well, I honestly haven't ever come across that, Jay. Coaches are here to empower people and not, not to make them dependent on anything, Now, I will say that, there are some times where you start out with like a minimum 3-month contract and then they decide they want to go on a little bit longer,
Mm-hmm.
It really just depends on what's going on in their life, if they're trying to achieve a goal or, if they're feeling or they're in a big transition or something like that. They're just feeling the need for some clarity, because that's really what it's all about. I mean, sometimes situations in life can just be so like overwhelming and everything that, you just need a little time to process it all out. But it doesn't mean that anyone would become like addicted or dependent on the coach, And
right. These people who go to these Tony Robbins event. I don't know, Tony Robbins, and I bet you at least more than half are just repeat customer.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not a sustainable model what he does, because a lot of people. I watched his the thing on Netflix, I'm Not a Guru. I don't know if you've seen that. Tony Robbins. And it just seems like a lot of people who attend Tony Robbins, they know a lot about him. They kind of follow him, like, oh, he's doing this event, I got to go to it. It's sort of like you become like a groupie sort of. They just go from because I went to a U2 concert a couple of years ago. And my son and I, my wife had some free tickets she got from her company, and she didn't want to go, so I took my son. And everybody that I talked to there, that was not their first time they were seeing U2.
Oh, okay.
There was this couple who had planned, they saw U2 when U2 wasn't even that famous. They're
Right.
basically on a honeymoon. They're now older, right?
Hmm.
And they said, "Oh, we planned our whole honeymoon to come to New York to see U2."
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh my God." I didn't want to tell them this was our first time. I've never, maybe the last time, but that was it.
Right.
Like,
Right.
we have Springsteen in New Jersey here, and people have gone to, like, our governor who used to be, he has seen like 130 some concerts of Bruce Springsteen. So I'm like, I like Bruce Springsteen, but not to the point where I'm going to go see him 134 times.
Right. Right. That's, yeah. Yeah. I've heard a lot of people talk about about Tony Robbins. I don't think I've ever watched any of his videos or anything like that, but yeah, I kind of know the mentality, I guess you could say, where people feel like they may miss something, they may miss out on something that could change their life, you know.
Yeah.
What's
No,
like, kind of like,
don't,
what's he gonna say next, you know?
yeah, don't get me wrong. He's a great performer. He's a great
Yeah.
performer. I mean, his events are just like super. But I'm just saying that, are you going there to see his performance? Or are you going there to make some real improvement in your life? An
Right.
event like that doesn't do it. It's
Right.
like what you do on a day-to-day basis that does it. But I guess people think
Yes.
that would motivate them. So brochure. So we got brochure there. You got that? Have you got that done yet, or are you still working on that?
No, I'm still working on that.
Okay, and
I've actually,
when you gonna get that completed?
well, I'm kind of at the mercy of a friend of mine who's into marketing, and whenever he takes a look at it to give me some pointers, that's where
Okay.
I'll go have it printed out.
By the end of
So,
this month, or
oh
may.
yeah.
Okay,
Oh yeah,
okay, that's
definitely.
good. Yeah, I just, all these things are like, I know. And you said speaking engagements. So how is that coming along? Have you had an opportunity to give talks to uh, you know organizations, youth organization, YMCA, or whatever, or maybe even libraries? I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
where is the best?
the libraries won't let me in because I'm not a nonprofit. I've already spoken with them about, doing workshops and stuff there. But as far as speaking engagements, I haven't um, made any attempts to set anything up yet.
Okay, okay. But you're for that, you're targeting parents essentially, right?
Yes, yeah. And I guess I was, because the website, I designed the website that I have now, and it's good enough, but I guess I'm kind of waiting for the new web design to come out before I I don't know.
Right. Are these schools, like, I know a little bit about schools, like, they have like a psychologist there. Do they contract, or do they, I don't even know how they work, but like, if they know that some child needs some one-on-one coaching, do they try to do it internally, or do they sometimes go outside and bring people like you who can be like, like tutoring? You have like tutoring service, right?
Sure.
And like do these schools, like have you had that type of conversation with schools saying, look, if you have any children that, because the psychologists are overworked, they have so many cases they have to work with.
Yeah. They don't really have time.
Their schools are cheap. They're not going to have that many psychologists. That's like a luxury. So they may have one psychologist that's covering multiple schools.
Right.
I remember when my son was in school, he had some learning difficulties, so we had to see a psychologist, and that one lady pretty much covered so many, and they just don't hire that many. But when people need that one-on-one coaching, they don't do coaching, by the way.
No, they don't. And I have not had the conversation yet that I was, and I don't know if I should. I think I should have something printed, like a brochure or something,
right.
to bring with me. And the good thing is that, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to become a substitute teacher, is because, I would have a chance to get into the schools, which I have. I've had a chance to get into the schools and kind of see what they have. some of them have a guidance counselor, some of them have what they call an interventionist. Some of the schools are doing like sex ed and stuff like that, but not not to what I would. It was like very basic, but at least they're doing it. That's a good thing. But to my knowledge, they're not doing anything about bullying in terms of seminars or workshops or anything like that. They have like bulletin boards everywhere and posters all over the walls in the schools about bullying and what to do and stuff like that. So the kids are seeing that every day, but I also see bullying going on in the schools,
right.
So I see a lot of kids on cell phones, and even, middle school up to high school, not elementary school, but basically what we've done. And I was talking to the friend of mine that's in marketing. He has a son. And so we were talking about this, and I was like, Joe, why in the world are so many parents even sending their kids to school with a cell phone? I was like, is this a perceived safety issue? And he said, yeah, that's exactly what it is. He said, if something's going down at school, I want to be able to get in touch with my kid. He said, and also the phones have a GPS tracker on them. So, if they don't hear from their kid or whatever, then they'll be able to get in touch with them. So basically, we're not solving any problems. We're just creating more problems by not solving the initial problem. So a lot of parents are terrified that there's going to be a mass shooter at their school or something, and they want to be able to get in touch with their kid right away, but instead of tackling that problem, we send our kids to school with phones, and now they're not learning anything, and they're bullying one another, and they're sending nude photos of each other, and it's just created this whole other issue. So,
I think it's hard to be a young person today because of all these technologies, and they're mentally, they say a teenage brain is still developing, right? Your brain is still like a lot of, we're throwing so much at these young kids at such at an age, and they can't handle it. They don't know what to do with it.
Right.
But now they're saying that they used to consider you mature, like when you're 21.
Right.
That age is going up now.
Yeah.
And I heard like the new age is more like 24 or 25.
Right. Yeah,
absolutely. So we think that, so that means in high school, suddenly these kids are physically growing up, but mentally they're still not. So coaching is so critical. Like, for example, and this is something where I see these parents are always stressing out, right?
Right.
As their kids get to high school, they're worrying about like, oh, my kids' grades are not going up. My kids, and the kids, they could be doing well, and then they hit a wall at some point. And it happens with young girls around 7th or 8th grade. They kind of hit a wall, right?
Right.
They run into a lot of problems. Peer pressure. They're just hormonal, whatever you call it. So a lot of times their grades suffer.
Right.
So then the parents do is they put them in these learning centers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you must have them all over the place. Like, here we have Huntington and all these different places, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really help because they're not coaches. All they're going to do is they're going to help you. Because we had the reason I know it because I have like 2 kids, right? And my son, we got a tutor.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't help at all. What helped was once we just kind of let him just be himself, right? Said, look, do your best. We're not going to hound you. I'm not going to take you to any learning center or anything like that. Just do what you like and just pick a course that you really get into and use that one thing to build his confidence.
Yes.
It's all about confidence, right? These kids, they go through, see, we don't understand it because we've outgrown it. But if you go back to high school, you realize like, my God, some kids really have it hard. They're not accepted. I mean, my son is, shy. He doesn't like make friends very easily. Mm-hmm. But the little by little, we've kept him in the band.
Right.
And I said, look, band is the place where you're going to meet people. These are people you already know. And now, as he's getting more and more comfortable, he's just basically doing all his work on his own. He doesn't need a tutor or anything anymore. Every time I ask him, do you need any help? He just says, no, Dad, I can handle it. I can handle it. I said, listen, I understand it, but if you need help, I'm here to help you. If I can't help you, I'll get you the help you need. And that's all he needs to hear.
Right.
But what I realized from that is that what these kids really need is not these learning centers, because they are learning. They need somebody to kind of reframe the way they're thinking. And that is not that parents, they don't listen to parents. They need a third party who can just get them to talk, somebody that they can trust. And I think the schools don't offer this.
Right.
And today I think it's really needed, because if you don't fix them up at that age, then they're going to have problems later on in college.
Right.
If not college, they'll have problems when they get into the workforce, because the stress just piles up and they don't know how to handle it.
Right. Exactly.
We always think that learning is all academics. No, learning is a lot of things.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And this type of stuff, that what you're doing is not something that they are learning. And so definitely, if you can get some school to say, listen, I can come in maybe and, do it for a very nominal cost, whatever, to at least get your foot in the door, saying, look, if they want to come talk to me, I'm available, and they can come talk to me. They can reserve time and you can come and just can talk to you for half an hour, etc.
Right.
And that way you can then get an idea that later on, if you want to do it outside school, then that would cost the money. Once you get in there, then the people will get to know you and they'll immediately start coming to you.
Right.
So that's the kind of exposure that you're going to have to find somewhere where you're going to get that exposure. Some of it you may have to do it in the beginning for free. And then once the word gets around with your content and all this, it's also like one school you can do it for free and the other school you don't have to, because then the word gets around. So, but once that word gets around that this is something that's really helping and you got parents to validate that, then I think you'll do extremely well. But the question is, you got to get that going soon.
Yeah, definitely. Without a doubt, and I feel like up to now it's just been sort of this steady, slow progression toward the next thing, and then getting feedback from other people in the community that have been around for a while and know the contacts to make and that kind of stuff, and then some feedback, either be it from you or from other people that I talk to about, like, well, hey, have you thought about this? Oh, no, I didn't. Thanks,
Right.
So, yeah.
Let me tell you about something that just happened to me recently, which I'll give you an idea if this is something that would help you. If you can, so what happened was I've been, you know her, right? You know Dinesha from Higher Heroes?
Yeah.
Dinesha, right? So Dinesha reached out to me and said, look, we have a void within Higher Heroes. We don't have anybody who can talk to these veterans who have over 10 years of experience, that the work that they've done, because, to be in the military for that many years. Your husband was in the military for how many years?
24.
So he's okay. So he's in the right. So someone like that, technically, when you're in the military for that many years, you really have a lot of executive skills.
Yes.
The question is, how do you get that type of a job that takes advantage of those executive skills so that you get a senior level job on the corporate side, right?
Right.
And the problem is that these people can talk the military work that they've done extremely well, but they can't connect it to how did that transfer over to the corporate side, right? So she wanted me to put together a presentation. She asked me, would I be interested in doing that? I said, look, I've coached quite a few people, and all the people that I've coached, they all ended up getting, high-paying jobs. So she said, hey, is this something that you'd be interested in helping us out? I said, sure. So I put together a presentation, and I presented last Wednesday. And they had like 200 people signed up, and I believe 95 attended. And from that one event, I've gotten a lot of exposure now.
Nice.
So like people are like, I can't do that many because I have other things to do, so I can only do it on Friday. So I'm already talking to somebody similar to your husband's experience, got 24 years of experience, and he's planning to make a transition from military to civilian next year, but he wants to get a
Mm-hmm.
head start. So I'm going to
Right.
be coaching him. In fact, I even asked him to make a video, and he's already done that. But what idea that I got from that was that if you can get somebody to, like somebody who does webinars or something, and you
Mm-hmm.
can get people who have like really good people that they can get, and because you already have the content, right? And you
Yes.
can go on, and whether it's not okay, forget about webinar, it could be a podcast too.
Yeah, I thought about doing a podcast. I'd gotten some of the software and everything to, and I did a few of them. I just didn't
Continue.
put it out there. Yeah, and I didn't continue.
So there are two ways of podcasting. And one leads to another. I did podcasting, not podcast. I did video. I'm a more of a video person, but I have to transition over to podcast, and I haven't done it yet. I have to put that together. I even have the logo and everything. But there are two things that what you can do. One is to push content out
Mm-hmm.
as a host, and the other one, you can be a guest on somebody else's podcast.
Oh, okay.
Right, like people like you're blogging and you're guest blogging, right?
Right.
You blog on your website, that's your blogs, but then you can take one of those blogs and then you can put it as you could be a guest blogger on somebody else's website.
Right.
So the concept is, but the one thing about podcast is it'll be a way for you. Again, these are all incremental. These are time consuming, and you have to find out which is the one that you really like to do. If you like to educate people about some of the issues that people are having, podcast maybe, because nowadays there are so many podcasts out there that you can easily get lost.
Right.
That's another thing you have to consider. But again, for what you're doing and what I do, we don't need that many people to we're not like generic podcasters. We're very niche.
Yeah.
So for that, you don't need that many people to be listening. As long as the content is really good,
Mm-hmm.
then people just will find you.
Right.
So that's one thing because I know when you start talking, all of these things we talk about, that's lots of effort there, right?
Mm-hmm.
To get a podcast going, you got to prepare, and you don't even need a guest actually. If you can get a guest, because I have a lot of problem trying to get a guest, because that takes a lot of time to get a guest, then prep them, and then to put a show together. It is really a lot of time. Some people spit these things out. I don't know how they do it. They got like a generic, like a boilerplate type of a podcast that they do. Mm-hmm. The podcast that I used to do was I would go into then do a lot of research, and I don't have like a staff that can give me all these questions and saying, here, let's talk about it, and you can focus on this. I got to do all that myself. So it just became to the point where I was focusing too much on podcast and not doing anything else. So I've kind of kept it. It became kind of a headache trying to secure guests. I said, if I start a podcast, it's not going to be trying to get guests. It's just trying to push content out there.
Right.
And then because I need a right kind of guest who's really I need a motivated guest. And it's sometimes hard to find guests who are really going to prepare to be on your podcast, right?
Right.
And then I end up asking, hey, let's talk about your book. And I don't want to just talk about the book. I want it to somehow help people become better speakers or help them get a job or something like you would do. If they came on your show, they may have written a book, but you want them to talk about, you'll promote the book at the end, obviously. There's got to be something in it for them. But you want to add some value to your audience. There are parents who are listening, some young people who are listening.
Right. Absolutely.
Absolutely. But see, here's the thing. So one of the things is I think that webinar podcasts are good if somebody's got good audience, because I just realized that if somebody can drive a lot of people,
mm-hmm.
they're well known, then you can benefit from that because you have the content. And I'll send you the presentation that I put together for them. And it took me a lot of work. It took me close to 40 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow. It was because I had to do a lot of research because a lot of the stuff I had to go back, like right now I'm taping this. Mm-hmm. If somebody says, hey, can you give me an idea when you're coaching for somebody who's trying to drive a business, how would you do? I would have to view this. So I had to go and view so many of these sessions that I had done. These were wrap-up sessions. Mm-hmm. So I had to spend a lot of time viewing it and then putting that, and then I had to do some research in other areas like Harvard Business Review and other things, and then look at all these people who have left the military and joined the civilian world to find information so I can put together some kind of focus on what are the skills that people at the executive level are needed, what are the executive skills you already have in the military, and how do you marry the two.
Right.
So it required a lot of work there. And I was kind of scared because I had not given this presentation before, but based on the response, it went really well. So
that's good.
If they have the audio part, I'll send it to you, but I'll send you the presentation after this call.
Okay. Yeah.
So that is
awesome.
something to think about. But also, if you can get in front of people, that's always the best.
Yes, without a doubt. The one-on-one interaction or just, building the relationships is really important in the line of work that we do,
Like I don't know, like churches getting talking about like, hey, let me just come in. I'm going to talk about like have a nice 20, 30-minute speech where you talk about some of the problems that young people are having and some of those, and you obviously offer a free 30-minute
sample
consultation.
session.
Yeah. So that's not like that. It's not like they get this. You're just like, hey, sign a check here, and you got me. You're saying, look, try it, and after that, if you like it, then we can do like an intro package, like a trial package, and then after that, we can take it from there. So it's all incremental, not trying to get you to get, because people get scared, like, oh my God, this person's coming, and I'm going to be committed for the next year or so. But the benefit is what you're going to push. Benefit is that see, here's the thing I would do. This is just, I'm brainstorming with you on this, okay? The benefit is that a lot of parents don't, this is when you're talking to the parents, that this is part of learning that they're not getting in school.
Right.
How to manage their life. And if you're not learning these lifelong skills early on, then you're going to run into problems. Like you said, peer pressure, bullying, and all of that stuff. These are stuff that a lot of parents are not capable of teaching, and schools are so academically driven. They'll have like, they'll have like a slogan and all kinds of stuff and stop bullying, but it's not that. Kids need to talk to somebody, and this kind of training, there are no courses offered on how to live a good life when you're young.
Exactly. Right.
That's just not offered. So the ones who want to really take it seriously, because remember, parents do have money. They spend ridiculous amount of money when it comes to tutoring.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Oh, I know, because I mean, you look at all the parents and the amount of money they spend for their SAT coaching, right?
Right. Very true.
It's like they can spend. I went to this one place and they said, for your son, it'll cost over $8,000 to $10,000. And my wife was ready to write the check. She's telling them that money is not going to be a problem, and these people suddenly increase the number by a couple of thousand.
Oh yeah, they will definitely do that.
So I think the way I would present it is how this is going to enrich them, not only in their confidence, but also academically.
Right.
Rather than sending them to these learning centers, it's a waste. If your kid himself has the right type of the attitude and the motivation, sending him to, you don't even need to send him to learning center. They could just do it from Khan Academy and on their own.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm just gonna make a note real quick.
Because I don't see anybody ever approached it like that. They always tell you like, come, your kids will improve their grades. And I'm like, no, that's not the issue. A lot of these kids are not motivated. They just think like, okay, I'm just going to do it to satisfy my parents because they're spending the money, but they're not, it's not going to have it's not going to produce the results that parents are looking for.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
Because the right one to determine which kind of learning center they go to would be someone like you. Because they will talk to you, say, look, how come you're not reading a book? What's going on in school? And they, as it turns out, that they're more likely to share things with you. That they got some other, like, I'm not confident. I have this issue, that issue. Until you resolve that, sending them to learning center is just going to be a waste of money. Right. It may make you feel good, but I don't know how much that's going to help.
Yeah.
All right, so you're gonna go to different, try to get different speaking. Have you got like a speech already ready?
I mean, I have articles written that I could work off of, or if they wanted a particular topic, then I could. Writing's not the problem. It really
Right,
isn't.
right,
I
right.
can write stuff very quickly. It's just more of getting in front of the people I need to talk to and not being afraid of rejection.
Right. Here's something else I'll offer to you. Just so if you think this would help you,
Uh-huh.
I could interview you and bring you on as a coach, life
Uh-huh.
coach, that you can then use it as a way to send to other people and saying like, like here's an interview of, it's some kind of a content, but rather than you're just talking to the video,
Right.
recording a video, this
Yeah.
would be more like an interview that I would be doing to you, and I would bring you on as an expert life coach who focuses on youth, and then I would ask you a question, so that's like that gives you that third party validation.
Yeah, that would be great. And if you could send me a list of the questions beforehand
Yeah, I
so
need
that
to
I
see
can
some of
kind
your
of prepare.
content so I can gear it towards that. Like, I can,
Okay.
if I have some content that I can take a look at, then
Uh-huh.
I can get an idea what you're focusing on, and just tell me what's the area you want to focus on. So this is something that you're kind of helping me help you.
Right. Absolutely.
So that way we can do it for like 30 minutes,
Uh-huh.
and that kind of sets you up as like a look. I'm an expert, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to be like corny, like, hey, go to. It will be done kind of like an infomercial where I'm
Yep.
providing mostly inform, and then at the end I can say, so if and I'll ask you, so Kim, if somebody wants to, and you can talk about the program you offer, like how do you work with you, so you can say, look, I have like all this free content available on my website, and
Mm-hmm.
also that if people are interested, they can contact me, and I do there should be something that they can download for free. Like here's a some kind of like a brochure or something, right?
Right.
Like a white
Yeah.
paper, not white paper, but something where here are the signs that you should look for in your kid when they would need life coaching, something like that, so that parents could download and saying, oh wow, it can help me improve my kids' grades, this and that. Anyway, so then you get to basically at the end talk about for the last minute or so a website, the service that you provide, and then that's it.
Right.
Basically, you only want to go up to the point of free content and the free consult. After that, then if they come to the free consult, then obviously they can come for the intro pack. You don't want to give the entire portfolio
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
services you provide. Then it looks too obvious. So let's plan on doing that. We could do it like, when do you think would end of the month would be something that would
Yeah,
work for
that's
you?
what I was thinking, Jay. And that way, hopefully by then my new and improved website will be finished, and then you can stick that on
Right.
the web.
So this interview is something you can actually put on your website.
Yes, exactly.
And then you
Yep.
can say like, here's an interview that I was interviewed by JO's author, etc., like
Right.
that.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm an author. I have a book here. I am an author.
Yes, exactly.
And no, because I have to. I will have it on my website, and also it gives me content too, so it works both ways.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be
So
great. I'd appreciate that.
yeah, so let's work on that. Let's let that be the next thing. And I have to do some research on life coach for young people. I need to get up to speed on that. So as I have more questions, then we can kind of we could even do a quick dry run if you
Yeah.
want, and then we should be all set. And if it doesn't work out, you just say, look, this not the way it worked out, so maybe we'll do it again. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think that'd be
Do
great.
you have any questions before we end this?
No, you've given me a lot more to work with, and I appreciate that. And do you want to say 2 weeks from now, Friday, or?
We can do 2 weeks from now to check in on this this Q&A session we're going to do.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
And then once we have this, because I've done many of these Q&A sessions. I can even send you some links of some, and I can make it. It's a lot of work, but I don't mind doing it for you. The other thing is you can then use it to send it to other people.
Right.
that you want to be guest on, saying, "Look, I've done this. If this is something you're interested, I'd be happy to come on your show to discuss this."
Okay.
But then you already have one, and all you
Right.
need is one.
Right. Okay.
All right,
Ooh.
you'll be a big star.
Yay.
You'll
Yeah.
be the next Oprah.
Yeah, yeah. My goal is to go onto the Ellen show one day.
Oh, you'll do it.
Yeah.
You'll do it. I mean, once you are helping people, then they want stories. They want
Right.
people, and you have a very good personality. You really connect well, and once you get started, you're going to be really, you're going to be really crushing it.
Yes. Thank
Like,
you.
not just crushing it. I think the main thing is you really want to make a difference in people's lives. That's what I
Yes.
look for. I look for people that say, I was really helped. Like when I get people, like that's why I work with Hire Heroes. When somebody gets a job, I get nothing out of it, but I just get that satisfaction that, you know what, I made a difference in one way.
Right.
That
That's
if it wasn't for me, then they may not have gotten that type of help. We never
right.
know, but
Right.
I took the action. All
Right.
right, Kim, again, thanks a lot, and I'll
Thank
send you the
you.
link, okay?
All
So
right.
we know what we're doing now. So let's just summarize. So what I'm going to be working on is trying to put together an interview show.
Mhm.
And next week is a check-in where we discuss, hopefully I'll have like some question. And also if you can send me some information, the content that you already have produced so that I can use that
Right.
to formulate some questions.
Yeah,
And
those
then we'll,
articles that I just wrote,
yeah.
I'll send those to you. I haven't put them on my website yet because again,
Right.
I was waiting for.
Right. So what you can do then is here, you can just basically put it on Google and give me read shared privilege so that I can read it.
Okay.
So you can just put
Gotcha.
it on Google Docs and then just share, or you can just create a directory with my name on it and just put everything there and then share that directory with me so I can access it.
Okay. Gotcha.
So you don't need to publish it. That's not for me. That's for people. So if they're, if they're grammatical and all those errors, that's not what I'm going to be looking for. I just want to get an idea of your thought process.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so that's what we're going to be working on. So actually, I've given you homework, but I've created more homework here for myself here.
Well, I appreciate it, Jay. I really do.
Yeah, because I think because otherwise we'll just be talking and we're not moving things forward.
Right.
And I want
agree.
things to move forward. So you'll have, if I can help you with some content, then you have that you can
Right.
then use it any way you want.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
And also it gives me content too, so it works both ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
good
you're the
practice.
expert. So you have to tell me your expertise so I can promote you as that expert right there. And then
Okay.
on my website, I will link to your thing that this session that we're going to do. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
All right, Jay. Take
All
good
right,
care.
All right. See you in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.